Welcome, everybody. I'll give it a few minutes here for the webinar to sort of kick in and get all the attendees able to join us. So at this point, we'll go ahead and start. So welcome. I want to thank you for joining the Trimble Unity Work Management webinar on valve exercising application with the Wachs integration. A little bit of introduction. My name is Brian Simkis. I guess I'm going to be your host and presenter for this webinar. I am the business manager for Trimble Water in the North Central region in Canada. Unfortunately, this webinar is going to be one-sided, so I can't take your questions verbally as I go through the presentation. But you do have access to submit your questions using the question button in the GoToMeeting pop-up. So as I'm going through the presentation, if you have questions, go ahead and select that questions tab, type it in, and what will happen is after the end of the webinar is I'll take a few questions and address those for the group. If for some reason I don't get to your question, don't be alarmed. Either myself or a colleague of mine or a partner of Trimble Water will be reaching out to answer your questions and make sure that they're addressed. I do want to let everybody know that this webinar is being recorded. Tomorrow you will receive a thank you email with a copy of this recording that you could view once again, or maybe you may want to share with a colleague or another individual that maybe wasn't able to make it to the webinar as well. As I begin the presentation here, a couple words of appreciation. First, I want to say to Wachs and appreciate Wachs' involvement in assisting Trimble Water in the creation of this application and allowing us to bring the vital software from the Wachs valve exercising machine into the Trimble Unity workflow for valve exercising. And then secondly, I want to thank our customers that have been asking for us and to add these type of enhancements to the Trimble Unity applications. Your ideas and constantly pushing us to evolve our software has led us to increase and have these gains within the software itself. So a little bit of appreciation there. A little bit of a format for today's conversation is I am going to introduce Trimble Unity, the platform, and this is the platform that this valve exercising application with Wachs integration will be run on to make sure everybody understands the platform. We'll talk a little bit about the characteristics and the features of that Trimble Unity work management. We will go through the valve exercising with Wachs workflow, and I'm just going to use a series of screenshots to sort of give you an idea of the flavor of the application itself and the workflow that may be seen by the field or that will be seen by the field user as they progress through the workflow. But also I will have a couple screenshots for those administrators back in the office on how they may issue a work order, create a work order, but also how they'll see the data as it's being completed by that field worker in the office. Additionally, we'll review sort of a summation as far as the key features, benefits, available resources to you, and then once again, at the end of the conversation today, I will take some questions. This webinar is scheduled for about 45 minutes. I'm not too sure if we're going to take the entire time, so we'll see how it goes. So when we talk about Trimble Unity is an overarching platform that the solutions from Trimble Water operate within. Trimble Unity includes a work management piece. So the work management piece includes mapping, maybe with a high accuracy GNSS receiver, inspection workflows for that mobile work management. So when we talk about work management, this is an example that we're going to discuss today. This valve exercising with Wachs integration is part of the mobile work management offering that we utilize. The second piece of Trimble Unity is the IoT and remote monitoring. Trimble Water provides devices that records and transmit data. These devices are typically located maybe in the municipal distribution system or wastewater collection system, and these devices transmit that data to Trimble Unity. And so that data is viewed in what we will call an application called remote monitoring. Overarching, Trimble Unity is a GIS-centric cloud and mobile solution. And so it supports that multiple suite of applications and tools really for that smart water management efforts by a municipality or clients. Trimble Unity Work Management focuses on workflow and business process improvement with benefits of better information for decision-making and regulatory compliance. Trimble Unity, once again, is built on Esri technology, providing seamless integration with your Esri GIS. The software consists of a web-based application used mainly by office supervisors or dispatchers to plan or dispatch mobile work assignments. The mobile application is typically used by the field crew. The mobile software is built with the field technician in mind, with a simple interface, action-driven workflows, providing tools needed for the field technician to improve their productivity in the field. The mobile software works on various platforms, including Windows, iOS, and Android phones or tablets. Today, the valve exercising with Wachs application will be run on a Windows mobile application. Trimble Unity works offline when there is no internet connection. This allows field technicians to have full access to the GIS and work assignments while working offline or during emergencies. I do want to let everybody know that Trimble Unity supports integration with enterprise asset management systems like a CityWorks, SAP, Maximo, Oracle, or Hansen, if that's your system of record. Trimble Unity supports high accuracy of GNSS location. Trimble Unity devices can be paired with those devices using the Bluetooth function. These Trimble high accuracy devices can capture up to centimeter accuracy with the use of this high accuracy receiver in a real-time correction service. I will reference the high accuracy location as part of the workflow that adds additional value to this valve exercising with Wachs integration for the user. Trimble Unity Work Management is designed around the concept of applications and configurable workflows. Applications are focused on, once again, specific built for purpose processes and are targeted to maybe a group of users that are responsible for these business processes within that client or municipality. The workflows of the application guide the field users through that workflow and the data collection process. We do offer out-of-box applications like the valve exercising application with Wachs integration, as you will see today. These out-of-box applications are included with a user license of Trimble Unity Work Management. However, I do want to let you know that we do realize that these out-of-box applications may not follow your desired workflow and data collection process and the information that you want to collect. We do offer out-of-box as part of a user license a application and form builder tool that allows you to create your own applications, your own workflows, your own forms within the application itself. Okay. Today we are going to discuss the Trimble Unity valve exercising application with Wachs integration, and at this point we'll talk more specifically about what we're here today to see. We understand that water valves are an important part of the water distribution system. Many utilities struggle to maintain the data on their valves, including their location, their status, maybe even their condition. The American Water Works Association, the AWWA, recommends that valves be operated on a schedule and the information on those valves be recorded during the process. Trimble Water has created the out-of-box application that allows a field user to collect an accurate location, update the valve's asset information, obtain the asset's condition, and perform the valve exercising from within the workflow. The completed inspection is saved and linked to the valve. The collected information can be used to update the GIS location, the attributes of the valve, or be new attributes of that valve within the GIS database. When the field operator gets to the valve exercising form of the workflow, the field operator can select the method utilized to exercise the valve, hand, wheel, or in this case, a valve exercising machine. That valve exercising machine choice is a truck-mounted Wachs machine. And once again, Wachs is a leading provider of truck-mounted valve exercising equipment throughout the world in North America. Wachs does offer its valve exercising software called Vitals. What we have done is brought that Vitals software into this workflow. Okay, Trimble Water has integrated that software into this valve exercising application. And what's important to note is that this allows the field user to capture, once again, that location, to update the GIS. It auto-populates all of that valve exercising information from the Vitals software into the form, and then all of that is connected to that GIS system on the back end. Oh, excuse me. What's important to note is as a field user goes through with this singular device, it allows that field user to maintain their focus on that workflow and inspection process without having to switch between devices. What I mean by that is the device maybe that will operate the workflow and then the device that would actually operate the Wachs valve turning machine. So let's just jump into the application itself so you can understand what we're looking at here. So this is a view that may be used by an administrator in the office to plan and dispatch work orders in Trimble Unity Work Management System, okay? This is if those work orders want to be created within Trimble Unity. If this Trimble Unity is connected to an enterprise asset management system, maybe that's going to be the origin and destination or origin of work order creation and the destination of completed work orders. You can see that the customer's GIS is viewable within Trimble Unity, so we are consuming the customer's GIS information. Users can plan the work assignments based maybe by searching for relevant valve criterias. So in this case, we're looking at a selection or searching of a 10-inch diameter valves. We are excluding maybe hydrant valves from this selection. That administrator could use a selection tool to select the valves that they would like to add to this workflow or work order to be assigned to a field crew. When we get to the field user, and this is once again a Windows-based application that the field user will be utilizing, the field users will see a series of tiles or applications that are assigned to themselves. Now, once again, if a field user his world is valve exercising, maybe you only have that valve exercising application that's available to him, okay? But these are a series of applications that may be assigned to that valve user. What's important to note is that little number on the top right of maybe of those tiles is the number of work orders that are assigned to them and the priority. So that blue bubble with the number inside may change colors depending on the priority of the work order that has been assigned. So what we're going to do is the field user will be working in that valve exercising application that you may see at the top right of the screen with the number of 2. So when the field user selects on that bubble, he's going to see the details of that application. A couple of things I want to just sort of point out is on the left is you're going to see a series of work orders that have been assigned to that field user, okay? What's important to note is that work order may have a series of assets that are assigned to that specific work order, okay? So that's going to be specific inspections that are assigned to an asset within that work order, okay? As a field user completes the work order or exercises the valve, there will be that valve will change color, so it will change from a blue to a green. If the valve does not pass inspection or has to be skipped, is an exclamation point with a red notice will be on the screen for that field user. Upon completion of the work order and all of the asset inspections by the field users, they will select the complete button that's in the top right of the screen. And that will send that back to the administrator to review the work. This is a different view for the field crew. The field crew does have access to the GIS information in the field. The field crew can visualize the location of the valves on that map. The crew will also be able to see on the map which valves have been exercised and which ones they have remaining. A completed valve, once again, will be marked by the green bubble. A failed one will be marked by a red bubble, and then an open one will be marked by a blue bubble. It is important for the field user to be confident in the valve, in the selection of the valve that they're going to be exercising. And this is particularly maybe important when there may be, shall we call it, a cluster of valves around a certain location. And so this is a tool, a compass tool, bottom right of the screen, that can be utilized by the field crew to direct them from a walking direction as where that valve is located. So really for those, shall we say, hard to find valves or locations and assets, it's a degree of confidence that will allow the field users to ensure that they select the proper valve. Once that valve is selected to be exercised, we're going to begin to collect the data in the valve exercising form. A couple things I want to just point out is on the left side of the screen, you'll see five different tiles: valve accessibility, valve information, exercise condition assessment, and attachments. So that is going to be the progression of various forms that we're going to be completing in this inspection of this valve. The first part of this out-of-box inspection of the valve asset is going to be capturing the location of the asset. So a field user may just select capture. I do want to point out is that this is the point where you may have that high accuracy GNSS receiver paired with the device, increasing the accuracy of the location. It is important to note that the metadata or details of that accuracy are saved when they are going to capture the location of the asset. A couple other things you will see on the screen is the technician name. That's going to be auto-populated. And then the very first important question that we have there is the valve accessible? And I want to just sort of point out there is an asterisk on that question. That asterisk is important because within the workflow and with the question segments is that there's some that are mandatory questions and then there's some that are not mandatory questions. That asterisk means that this question is mandatory for the field user, okay? So if the field user does not answer this question, they cannot hit save and close out the inspection of this work order. I also want to point out is that some of the questions on this workflow are, shall I call them conditional, meaning that if you select yes, or if you select no, maybe a series of other questions pop up that the field user may need to complete. So this question, is the valve accessible, is one of those scenarios. It's a mandatory question, it's also conditional. So if the user selects, is the valve accessible, and if I were to select no, there's really no reason to go on with the workflow of this valve because it's not accessible. But it is important to note that the field user will be asked for a comment of why that valve is not accessible. So they will have to write down why this valve, they can't perform the function of the work on this valve. Now, in this case, we selected yes, and you can note that there's a couple other questions that have popped up below is that valve accessible question. So surface type, is it in the asphalt? Is it maybe inside of the curb? And that's going to be a drop-down menu that when I click on please select on my mobile device, a drop-down menu of different choices will appear. And then another question, is traffic control needed? This is especially important. Let's say if a valve is located in the street and maybe for future maintenance or repair, it'll be a requirement that those users back in the field on their GIS can plan that traffic control is needed in order to perform work on this valve. We're going to proceed to the second form of this inspection, and this is just the GIS information that is being consumed in Unity from the customer. This gives the field user the opportunity to, one, see the information of the valve that they're working on. So what may be important for them to know is that this is a 6-inch gate valve. You need to turn it to close clockwise. It also may have the information from the last valve exercising on that form. But if there is things that are not filled in on this form within this inspection, this gives the field user the opportunity to update those attributes of the asset while they're there. I will proceed to the next form of the inspection. There's a lot going on in this screen, so just bear with me. Most of you maybe that are familiar with a valve or a Wachs vital software will recognize the photo, and so that is the vital software from Wachs that has been embedded into the workflow. But I want to just back up a little bit, if you just bear with me, and just sort of let you know how we got there. Okay. So the first question is the main valve operating mechanism. So in this case, a 2-inch square operator will be utilized to turn the valve. What's important to note is that second question, that main valve exercise method, and you can see that little asterisk once again. So this is a mandatory question. So there's 3 options, actually 4 options that are given to you. It's going to be a wheel. So you're going to exercise with a wheel, by hand, or a Wachs truck mounted unit, or maybe other, okay? If the user selects Wachs truck mounted as the valve exercising method, what's going to happen is this little blue button where it says exercise on the right hand of the screen is going to appear on the drop down. Once again, that conditional question, right? You don't need to see what's going to happen until you're firm or know how you're going to exercise that valve. And when you select that exercise button, because you're going to exercise the valve with this Wachs truck mounted machine, the Wachs Vitals controller, as you see on the screen, and if you have used a Wachs machine in the past, this is the same software that you may see on the Recon unit to operate the machine, will appear. So I do want to take this moment and just let everybody know that we are connecting to the Wachs machine via Bluetooth. Okay, so that is how we're going to be connecting to the Wachs machine and operating the Wachs machine with this software is we're connecting to it via Bluetooth. So this software, the Vital software appears within the workflow. They may jog left, jog right, get the key attached, and then they're going to hit start. And that's going to operate the Wachs valve exercising machine. Upon completion of the valve exercising, the user is going to hit save right down here, okay? What's going to happen is all of the information captured by that Vital software is going to be automatically populated into the form, okay? So you'll have your date, time, start of operation, end of operation, turns, max torque, final torque, that'll automatically be populated into the workflow. So that field user doesn't need to manually enter in the information. The fourth form of the inspection is really an asset condition, is an opportunity for that field users to sort of capture the overall asset condition as they found it to be utilized by the back office. So these are typically just a good, fair, poor type questions. Repair, replace is another option that they can select from a drop-down menu, and then they can add their subsequent comments as far as why they provided that type of score, if you want to use that term, for the asset condition while they're out in the field. The last form, if a customer wants to utilize it, is attachments. A couple of attachments that will automatically be generated in this inspection is going to be, one, the raw data from the Wachs Vital software, okay, will automatically be attached as an attachment. And then a torque chart from the Wachs data will also be attached automatically. A field user can also utilize, by just selecting this little plus button, maybe a photo. They can take a photo, they can attach a photo if they want of that general asset to maybe support their condition assessment that they provided on that asset. Okay, so utilizing the functions of that mobile device for the field users. Okay. So at this point, the inspection is complete for the field users. They're going to hit save. And what's going to happen is, once again, that blue bubble for that asset, as far as when you initially start it, will now turn green, and it will be a completed inspection against that asset. What's important to note is from back in the office is if the field user is connected to the system, because remember I said that Trimble Unity Work Management can work offline or online, and if that field user is constantly syncing with the cloud, and then the information is that in the back office, they can see all of the information that is being collected by that field user, okay? And this is an example of what would be seen by that administrator back in the office, maybe either after a complete work order with multiple inspections has been completed, and they're looking to just review the data and confirm that it's completed and close it out and make the transfer it over to their GIS to be updated, add key attributes, etc. with it. I do want to just sort of show you what a valve torque chart, which is automatically going to be attached to the inspection, looks like. What multiple customers utilize is they can utilize charts from maybe a previous inspection and compare those to see how the asset is maybe change from different times of inspection. Okay. Within the workflow, the field user has, once again, collected data on the asset's location, which can be utilized to update the GIS information of the asset. They perform the valve exercising process, and they've they've taken a condition assessment of the asset. With that collected information of the field users, really what's going to help a municipality is, one, is that accuracy position of the valve can be used to update the GIS map. With the information that's being collected by the field users, maybe the planning of valve or water main repair activities based on that valve exercising information or condition captured from the valve exercising application could be utilized. What I am showing here on the screen as well is that using a ArcGIS Online is a client can create dashboards or KPIs of the collected information. On the screen, this dashboard represents the number of valves exercised per month, the method used for exercising the valve, and the percentage of valves that were exercised, and that's a yes/no question. But this is what we call an ArcGIS connector. So this allows the user to create their own dashboards, KPIs based on the information that is collected. This is just an example of our out-of-box application that could be utilized. One other thing I do want to mention is that the activities that's being collected by the valve exercising application can be utilized in other Trimble Unity applications. For example, there's clients, and we offer it, is a leak repair application where a user can perform a leak isolation. So in the field, if field users, once they drop a pin on the line segment that has a leak in it that they want to repair, they perform a line leak isolation, which will utilize the valve status being open in good condition and identify those valves that need to be closed to isolate that leak in order to perform a repair. What's pretty cool is that when it identifies those valves, it's added to the workflow. It walks the field user through the process of closing those valves, but before they would complete the entire workflow, it does walk them through the process of making sure those valves are reopened. So a couple, I guess, key takeaways. Trimble Unity Work Management does now include the valve exercising application for Wachs. Once again, that is what we show today is our out-of-box application. It is included with at no cost with user license subscription. Once again, if our out-of-box does not fit your workflow or the information that you want to collect, you do have the ability with just a license subscription and have access to our app and form builder to create your own valve exercising application. And you can select to bring in the valve exercising method of the Wachs truck mounted unit into that workflow. So you have that capability to build it yourself. Once again, we're bringing in that vital software directly into the workflow of this application. And then overall, Trimble Unity in general, its focus is really to streamline the operations from the field user, but also back to the administrators that are going to be dealing with the information and how to make it utilize it. Improving the emergency response, just because everything will be coming back to the GIS in regards to the status condition and those valves that are open. Really focusing on that asset management and life cycle to prolong that asset life of the valve in this case. Before I get to your questions, marketing would not be happy unless I sort of put this out there. Obviously, if you have questions about Trimble Water, you can go to our website, trimblewater.com. Please feel free to, I guess, follow us is the right term, on LinkedIn. If you want to have more information on Trimble Unity, you can go to trimblewater.com, but there's the web address to Trimble Unity webpage and the valve exercising for Wachs webpage as well. So at this point, what I'll do is I'll take a few questions if you have typed those in through the course, and then we'll see what questions those are.
Great. Will this functionality come to the iPad in the near future?
So right now, the Wachs Vital software is a Windows-based software, so it has to be utilized with a Windows tablet. I guess that would be a question that I would have to refer to Wachs and their development of the Vital software, and if they're going to make that compatible to an iOS device.
Okay. Does the software have the ability to be programmed to automatically turn valves using AWWA recommended procedures?
So you're going to be turning the valve utilizing the Wachs software, the Vital software. So that may be a question that we can direct you to Wachs as far as exercising the valve based on those requirements and recommendations by AWWA.
Okay. Does the valve exercising app have the ability to show all valves that have been exercised via color coding or icon through specific time period, such as all valves exercised within the past 12 months?
Right now, out of box, that does not have the capability, but that is something that we're looking to add in the box capability too. So stay tuned on that one. I want to just note that we are coming out with a Unity release 4.8 towards the end of the month that may add this capability, but don't quote me on that. That's something I just need to check that if that capability will be added. If it's not added, what can be done is through some professional services effort, that capability can be added. Lindsay, I'll take one more.
Sure. One more. Describe how this can be used with CityWorks. What data is uploaded to CityWorks?
Well, so within, so keep in mind that Trimble Unity is a GIS, Esri-based GIS information. So all the information that's being collected in Unity is going to go back into the GIS. Where it comes in with CityWorks is maybe you want CityWorks to be that ultimate database of record in regards to the asset information. So work orders can be generated within CityWorks and sent to Trimble Unity. Once complete in Trimble Unity, all that information goes back and tied back into CityWorks. Okay. What I would say with that question as well is, let's take, that's a very simplistic answer, what I gave to you. That may be a question to be taken offline and have a conversation with your RBM in regards to that CityWorks integration, because a lot of what we're doing right now is bringing all of our solutions into CityWorks due to the purchase of CityWorks by Trimble in the fall. Okay.
Great. So all the questions that were asked, but we didn't get to, someone will reach out to each of you to answer your questions. If you have any other questions, please go ahead and send them to either myself or to Brian or to your regional business manager, and we'll be sure to get you the answers you're looking for. We thank everybody for tuning in today, and this recording will be sent out tomorrow.
Yeah, and I guess one little thought, I do want to appreciate everybody attending this webinar. Just as a reminder, you will get an email tomorrow with a copy of the webinar. Feel free to share it with your colleagues. But keep in mind, you may get an email from myself or a colleague, just asking you to see if there was any questions that they can answer for you or follow up with, and maybe even see if this is a solution that you may want to have a little bit further conversations about. Okay, awesome. Thanks everybody for your time. Have a great day. Be safe.